Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome back to the Aggie Pridecast. We are here with you on video. Wish we were live, but not quite yet there. But we are glad to be back and talking about sports, and what a way to come back to have in my opinion, the best coach, track and field coach in the country, in Duane Ross with us. And Coach, welcome to the show. I think it's your first time.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Thank you, Brian. I appreciate that.
No problem, man. No problem. So how has social distancing been for you over the last 21 days?
You know what? Very painful, but very necessary. I try to practice that, try to force my family to practice that. So, but as everyone else can surely attest to, it's rough. And it's rough sitting around and, finding things to do. I think I've cleaned my garage, walked around this neighborhood. I don't know how many times, but I hope we get past this pretty soon and pretty safely.
Well, no question about it, man. As you can see from our beards, we've kind of been on lockdown for a while, all three of us. So, yeah. It's certainly been a different world for us. Tell us a little bit about the day you guys are actually at the NCAA Indoor Championships, when this really starts to come about. Describe that for us, that day for us, as you guys kind of progressed and found out that you're not going to be able to compete for national championships.
Oh man, Brian, it was heartbreaking. I'll tell you, we weren't just in New Mexico. We were literally on the track. We were in the middle of our pre-meet warm-up. And, kids were looking good. Everybody was excited. There was a lot of energy, and I just happened to, I was talking to another athletic director at another institution. He came up and he said, hey, you guys have been doing well this year. And, I thanked him. And then he shared with me, the meet's probably going to get canceled. Right. And I'm sitting there looking at him and I'm like, we thought that might happen, but, nobody really wanted to face that fact. So, I continued to let our kids warm up, as did the other teams. And then all of a sudden you see everybody picking up their phones and announcement came through, and then they made the announcement, and literally there were tears, in the stadium. And I felt bad for our student athletes because, a couple of mine shed a couple of tears. It was tough because at that moment they didn't know whether they were going to be able to come back. It was just, we've come all this way, we've trained all this, this hard, and here we go. So it was tough. It was a tough walk back to the hotel. It was a tough conversation with them once we got back to the hotel. So everybody dealt with it. It was a tough situation.
Coach, did it make it more difficult because not only was this an NCAA championship, but it's also an Olympic year. It was supposed to be an Olympic year. At that point, the Olympics were still on the mind of everybody.
Oh, absolutely, man. It was so much uncertainty. We had so many calls with the USA Track and Field and the U.S. Olympic Committee, just trying to figure out what was going on. We were on conference calls. And I think deep down everyone knew that the season was going to be canceled for the remainder of the season. But nobody really wanted to admit it. Everybody was just kind of hoping that things would continue to progress. So it's been a tough couple of months. Since March 13th, 14th, when NCAA made the announcement, it's been rough. It's been, talking to our student athletes. We have a, video conference with them weekly, just to see how they're doing and, talk to them about different things going on. And it's tough. This is something none of us have dealt with in our lifetime. And, trying to help our student athletes through it. And it's nothing to be taken lightly.
How are they doing?
They're doing great. They're doing great. They're focusing on school. They're begging for workouts. I won't send them any workouts. I want them to rest mentally and physically and stay inside and stay healthy. So just keeping them contained is a challenge within itself. Every day I get a text, oh, can I do this? Can I do that? And it's just, telling them, hey, spend time with family. This is an opportunity to rest, meditate, whatever, you do to, get centered, spend some time with your family and, let's just wait this thing out the best way we can.
you know, you had a couple of really good shots at winning indoor national championship. Your 4x400 team was ranked high nationally, and a young man that you're very familiar with, Randolph Ross Jr. Certainly was the number one in the world in the 400 meters. Cambria Sturgis, another one who had an excellent shot at winning a national title. How did they take that, knowing that you know, that opportunity, you know, for that particular year can't be given back?
Yeah, those few that you mentioned in particular were devastated. The guys in that relay were devastated. You know, Junior was hurt. You know, I can always tell when Junior's trying to hold something in, because he just looked at me and, you know, and turned and walked off. You know, and Cambria as well. You know, it was tough for them. You know, they were ready to compete. You know, and this is something they enjoy doing. You know, they love it. You know, and to train hard and to prepare for, you know, track and field, you got to have a goal in mind. You can't just train, you know, without saying, okay, this is where I'm going to race. This is my end game. So for the end game to be snatched from them, I mean, just like that, you know, that was tough. So, you know, I sympathized with my kids, and, you know, I tried to console them as best I could and whatnot. So it was tough. I know a lot of programs out there dealt with the same thing. A lot of different sports dealt with the same thing. But for us to be at the NCAA championships on the track, warming up, that was tough to deal with. And not only that, you know, my hurdlers had Paula Salmon and Madeline. You know, they were literally on the track going over hurdles. And they were in such denial that they did not leave the track. I had to walk out they were the only two left on the track. I had to walk out to the track and say, okay, guys, it's time to shut it down. I mean, they literally kept going. And everybody else had walked off, grabbed their bags, was, you know, starting to head for the hotel, and they were still on the track warming up. So it was tough. For a coach, it was tough. And, you know, for them, it was tough. So hopefully we can just get past this and get back to work, you know, sometime here soon.
Coach, you've got a lot of decisions to make now that NCAA has made its ruling. You know, you've got some very talented seniors on the team, and I know there's not a whole lot of answers right now because, you know, there's a whole lot of unknown. But take us through the process for what it's going to be like for you and your staff to have to go and really make some tough decisions with the, you know, Akeem Sirleafs and some of those guys who are seniors who could potentially have an extra year there.
Yeah. So as soon as this developed, I literally sat down with each and every one of them. I mean, there was no way this was going to be counseled and the NCAA not give them an opportunity to return. So I had a sense that this would happen even before the announcement. So I sat down with each one of our seniors individually, and we talked about the future. And surprisingly, well, I shouldn't say surprisingly, I mean, they're great kids. They want to accomplish a lot. We always talk about making history and winning a national championship. Every single one of our seniors wants to return. You know, so I didn't have not a one say, well, you know, I'm going to go ahead and graduate and get a job and move on with life. No, every single one of them said, hey, I'm returning. I just need to know what to do.
That's the right choice. Don't rush it. Stay in college as long as you can.
As long as you can.
That's right. That's right.
Coach, how does this all work, though? Because a lot of times your athletes will run more than one season. But as of right now, the NCAA has only granted them an extra year of eligibility for the spring. So are you just going to be training these seniors for one season?
Yeah, and that is what's unfortunate for track and field. So I know our governing body, U.S. Track and Field and Cross Country Association, I know they did send a recommendation to the NCAA to give us winter and spring. You know, we had an inkling that it was only going to be spring. So what I plan to do is have all of these, because, you know, the fall is, you know, one of the most important parts of our training. You know, so our kids just can't show up in December and say, okay, I'm here and I'm ready to, you know, or in January, I'm here and I'm ready to race. So we've talked about this with our student athletes. They'll need to be in school in the fall if they're serious about this. And, you know, they'll train in the fall. They'll run unattached, you know, at some competitions, and got to get them ready for the spring.
How is Akeem handling all of this? knowing that he had already qualified for the Olympics, and now that's going to have to wait yet another year?
Who did you say, Akeem?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How's he handling it?
Yeah, Akeem, I'm gonna tell you one of the most beautiful things about coaching, especially coaching different personalities and so many different kids, is that you learn, your kids, you learn their quirks, their mannerisms, what bothers them. Akeem deals with things differently. He doesn't speak about them, and that's how he's hurt or he's troubled over it. And he literally did not bring it up. He has not brought up the Olympics. He hasn't said anything about it. He's been focused on school, and that's how I know he was, disappointed. And he'll bring it up at his own time and whatnot, and then we'll talk about it. But what I told all of them in our meeting, let this motivate you even further.
Coach, do you have an idea of how the Olympics are going to work in 2021? Do you have an idea of how the scheduling is going to work, or is that still a lot of that up in the air?
No clue. Just like you guys, we're getting information as they make decisions, sometimes daily, sometimes weekly. So right now, no one has a clue. We don't know if NCAAs will be at the same spot next year or if it'll be back in Oregon. Because remember, 2021 NCAAs was supposed to go back to Oregon. So we don't know if it'll remain in Texas this year or if it'll go to Oregon. And Olympic trials will be right after in Oregon, as it was supposed to. The Olympic trials were supposed to be in Oregon this year. So no one really knows. Right now, the only thing we know is that they've changed the date to next year. And for some of my kids, I use it as like I said, motivation. This gives you another year to get stronger, another year to mature a little bit more in your sport. All right, so let's take advantage of it.
Coach, how amazing is it that A&T is talking about potentially having multiple Olympians?
Yeah, I am extremely, extremely proud of our program. I am extremely proud of our student athletes. It's the culture that we've built here. I mean, I just sit back and I'm amazed myself, how they've taken the reins and, they take accountability for their program. So it's absolutely wonderful to sit back and, think, hey, we're going to have some Olympians on this team. We're going to have some kids that could possibly change the world in this sport. It speaks volumes about what we've done as an institution, as an athletic department, and as a coaching staff, because, hey, this involves everyone, not just the coaches and student athletes. I mean, we've had tons of help from, you guys, Brian promoting us, and, our kids buying into this and believing what they can do. And so it's great to sit back and watch them. And I'm still claiming that we will win a national championship. We have the athletes to do it. We've worked hard. That is the belief here, that we're going to do it. We're going to make history doing it. So to win a national championship and then go on and put some guys on the Olympic team, hey, that'll be a sweet story coming after all of this coronavirus.
Coach, you talked about being surprised, but are you really surprised? You talk about all the time goals, expectation over goals. Expecting to do great things, and certainly A&T has certainly been dominant over the last few years. Did you ever suspect that you would have a nationally recognized program the way you do when you first stepped into the doors of North Carolina A&T State University?
Well, I'll be honest. I'll say that was the plan. That was the plan. But I did not, at the time, I didn't see it growing to what it's grown to. We tried to take 1 year at a time, and I always spoke that to our staff. And sometimes in staff meetings, I would be talking to our staff about, hey, being nationally ranked, winning the national championship. And sometimes I felt like, hey, what I was saying was going on deaf ears. Like, hey, man, do they really believe me? But year after year, we got better at doing what we were doing. We continued to learn, get better at our craft, at growing our student athletes. And you could slowly see the tide turning. So, yeah, and initially it was a struggle. I mean, B, you were here with me. It was some lean times, those first couple of years. But, we didn't give up. And I think that's one of the things our alumni and our current student athletes, they saw that. They saw the losses we took at conference. They saw the taking one athlete to the NCAA championships and then slowly building this thing into what it is. So they saw the staff believing, they saw the institution believing, right? They saw the expectations. And as I mentioned, now it's when kids walk through the door, they understand, hey, I understand what I have to do. So it makes it easier. It makes it easier.
How do you view Power Five? Because you and I have had a conversation before. It's really mainly a football term when you talk Power Five, maybe basketball a little bit there as well.
Yeah.
But do you feel like coaches sometimes get intimidated because of the Power Five mantra that football brings, that some of these other sports don't feel like they can compete because of that? And of course, certainly they have more resources than we do.
Mm-hmm.
But, how do you view that from your perspective as a track and field coach?
Oh, exactly as you just explained it. I do believe some coaches, we know resources are limited in some institutions, but if we sit back and we use it as an excuse, then we would never get any better. So there's some great institutions, in the Power Five, and there's great institutions in the other conferences and whatnot. So you're right, but my belief personally is that is a football and a basketball term. And I've said publicly, hey man, that doesn't apply to track. In track and field, hey, the distance is the same, right? Everybody's running the same distance. We're lining up head to head. So I don't buy into that, right? And I encourage other coaches, and hopefully, not hopefully, I think we have changed, the rule of thought within our own conference, within the MEAC, that hey, you train your kids well, right? You take an interest in them. You're passionate about what you do. You learn this thing instead of just trying to go out and do it, right? Then you can compete with anyone. Why not? So there's a lot of great coaches. I don't have anything personally against any Power Five institutions or coaches, but I refuse to let any program, whether it's Power Five, non-Power Five, whatever conference, I refuse to let any coach or any program tell us that we fit in a certain category and that we're not supposed to win a national championship. We're not supposed to belong. That right there, if you want to really see me on the podium, you tell me that, because that does nothing but motivate me. So that's my my personal thoughts on it. Hey, track and field is. There's a reason track and field is synonymous with Olympics. It was man against man. Woman against woman. There's what else could you ask for and whatnot. So it comes down to who's better prepared, right? Who's better coached. All right, and let the cards fall where they may when we line up and go against each other.
Go ahead, Turkin.
Coach, for you right now, not being able to do workouts and whatnot with your team and to be with them every day, how difficult is that for you? I know that this is a big part of your life.
I was telling one of my kids this morning, hey man, I miss you guys. They text constantly, and I talk to them constantly. It is tough because this is what I love to do. I've said time and time again, this is no way a job. This is. I look forward to coming to practice and coaching our kids and being around them. Just all of that energy out on the track. So it's tough. I try to find ways to deal with it. I'm doing a lot of recruiting. I've changed our workouts for next season. I don't know how many times, just twerking things, watching videos, reading up on things, learning more and more. So I'm going to make the best of this. Our team is going to be stronger for
it. Coach, how are the young men and women enjoying Zoom University?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
How are the young men and women enjoying Zoom University?
Oh yeah. It's a little different. Trying to listen, we had 50 kids on our first Zoom meeting, and trying to get everyone to mute their phones. I think the first 5 minutes was just crazy because everybody wanted to talk about what they've been doing and how they're doing and the family and whatnot. But it's enjoyable, man. This journey with our student athletes is one of a kind.
All right, Coach, we're going to have a little fun with you here, play one of my favorite card games is Uno. And I've been isolated for a while, so we played a lot of card games in my household. So this game is called Skip or Reverse. If you like the subject, you'll say reverse. If you don't like it, you'll say skip, and we'll go to the next subject. So here we go. Father and son.
Yeah, what can I say? I love having my son out here. You know, watching him grow as a young man is absolutely wonderful. Not just him running fast and winning competitions, but just watching him grow and becoming, turn into a young man I love it. I mean, that is truly a blessing. Truly a blessing.
Who's the better athlete?
Oh, he's definitely better. he's definitely better. But you know what? He's better because he has a great coach too. So I still take a little bit of credit.
All right. Next subject: skip or reverse? Steroids in the sport.
Reverse.
Do you feel like the sport has cleaned itself up, or is there still more work to be done?
I think there's still some work to be done, but I do give all of my athletes, fellow former Olympians and other athletes the benefit of the doubt. People don't understand, that old saying that what people don't understand, they fear, and what they fear, they try to destroy. That applies to so much in life, and track and field is one of those things that it applies to. When people don't understand how to get their athletes from point A to point B, and they see other institutions and other programs doing it, the first thing they don't understand is, so the first thing they do, they fear it. And then after that, they want to destroy it, with rumors and of steroids. And I hate that. For someone that's been in the sport, I've heard it about other athletes continuously. The minute someone runs fast, that's the first thing people say. And that's so unfortunate. Yes. Let's be honest. We know that has been, a big part of track and field professionally, not so much collegiately, but definitely professionally, and whatnot. But I think it definitely has gotten better. We have some great organizations that are teaching coaches and athletes how to better prepare themselves, how to coach better. Whatnot. If you learn this thing like you're supposed to learn it, then you'll realize that those type of drugs aren't needed.
On that subject, skip or reverse, your interview at the 2020 MEAC Indoor Championships.
Mm-hmm. Oh no, I'll take that head on.
Did you say all you wanted to say, or do you still need room on the black couch?
I think I got my point across at the time. I didn't know it was going to go as viral as it did, but I will say I was amazed and pleased at so many of the responses, positive responses that I received in saying that. And sometimes things just need to be said, and the truth needs to be spoken. And my student athletes, they work hard. I said this, I love them to death. They don't question what they do. They come out, they work hard, they enjoy what they're doing, and they don't deserve that. That platform I had to, at that moment, I felt I had to, because things being said about my student athletes, sometimes, this is what I believe. Sometimes turning a deaf ear, right, can lead to acceptance, right? Meaning, you hear it so long, your competition and others around you, you don't address it, then, it can be interpreted as acceptance. And there was no way I was going to accept that any longer. We have been hearing that, rumors about our program for, the last few years, and we always took the high road and, didn't address it. And I would tell my student athletes, you know what you guys are doing, you know how hard you train, don't worry about that, but enough is enough, right? Enough is enough. So it needed to be said. I think I got my point across. Some people weren't happy, but hey, the truth needed to be spoken.
And for those who might not quite know the entire story, that there were some programs out there accusing A&T of cheating and drug use and those type of things. And Coach Ross addressed that during an interview on Flow Sports at the 2020 MEAC Indoor Championship. So just to fill everyone in there on what he is referring to there. Skip or reverse, your longevity at North Carolina A&T?
Oh, longevity. Reverse.
Certainly you have had a ton of success at A&T. Any thought of going to a bigger program, or is this your big program?
This is my big program. It doesn't get any bigger. Doesn't get any bigger. You know, there you know, rumors the last 3-4 years about Coach Ross, you know, searching for you know, a Power 5 program. You know, Coach Ross going here, Coach Ross going there. I mean, that track underground is relentless. You know, just rumors flying all the time. And I would tell my student athletes, hey, let's focus on the task at hand, man. If something like that was to happen, you would be the first to know. But and my eyesight, I mean, this is our program. It doesn't get any bigger. You know, as I told someone just this recently, another coach called me and we were just, you know, having a conversation about things in this past season, and he brought up the same thing, you know, and I told him right away, it's like, listen, why does everyone feel the need to tell me what I need to do, you know, or make plans for my future? You know, I enjoy what I'm doing. I don't need a different logo on our uniform. That was always part of my pregame speech in the past when we were going into big competitions. Hey, does it matter what that logo is on your chest? You know, everybody puts on their spikes the same way. It puts on their bodysuit the same way, right? Does it matter, you know, about the money, about the facilities, about the buildings? All that matters is what you believe, right? If you believe you're the best, then go out here and perform like it. So this is my big program. This is my big program. I love it here. I love the people I work with. It's nothing that I've not learned to deal with. Every year that conversation comes up with someone and I have to tell them, you know, the same thing. We're going to win a national championship here, right? And that might be why the rumors are flying so much. Maybe some competition out there doesn't want me to win a national championship here, you know, but it's going to happen.
Skip or reverse, Big South track and field?
Oh, yeah, Big South. I'll answer that. Big South track and field. We're looking forward to it. I've already spoken to some of the coaches in the conference.
I'm sure they're not looking forward to it.
Yeah. Yeah, that was that was kind of the indication I got also. But we're looking forward to just the change. We're going to miss the MEAC. I was telling someone just yesterday, matter of fact, we were watching some videos of our MEAC conference, outdoors and indoors, and just the energy that is just created in that environment. And I was telling someone that I am going to miss. I haven't been to a Big South Conference Championship, so hopefully it's similar. But I do know, I'm going to miss that energy that we bring at the MEAC Conference Championship. So I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, I've met, I've spoken to a lot of the coaches in that conference already, and I know they're getting ready. I know they're getting ready. So that just motivates me even more, because from my understanding, the entire conference is preparing for A&T's arrival.
Well, get ready, because here we come, baby. Here we come.
That's right. That's right.
Last one here. Your favorite sports teams?
Oh, man. I'm a Steelers fan, football.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's acceptable.
Yeah, I'm a Steelers guy. I've been a Steelers guy since, time I could walk, I believe. I think my dad was a Steelers fan, and it just grew on me. So, yeah, football, I'm a Steelers fan. Let's see. Basketball, I'm more football than anything. So I watch football. I don't watch a lot of basketball. Track and field, A&T, baby. College football, A&T. Yeah, I'll pull for my alumnus every now and then. Clemson. I love Clemson football. I go to at least 2 games every year. So I'm pretty simple. Football and track.
That sounds great. I had a conversation just off with Coach Broadway the other day, and he was very appreciative of how you helped his football program when he was here. He really spoke highly of that. He said you taught his guys how to run and how to get faster, and he certainly was appreciative of that. And certainly that I wanted to relay that to everyone. That's Aggie Pride. For a coach to step outside his own sport to help another sport. That was really enjoyable to hear.
Yeah, Coach Broadway, he is a great guy. I miss him being around. Always has some words of wisdom, to share. He gives me a little bit too much credit. Those guys were athletic and they were already playing well. I was just glad to step in and help any way I could. Those are some great coaches over there, in that football program there. Just, watching them work, man. It's funny how people talk about our program and how well we're doing, and I love sitting back and watching other programs. Football, when they're out there, I sit back and watch them. I love watching the coaches work. So they're doing a great job, man. I'm a huge football fan here, just watching them get better and better and better and handle change and handle adversity. I mean, we really have a great thing going here in our athletic department, and I'm happy to be a part of it.
All right. Close us out, Turkin, with a little this or that.
Coach, this or that, we'll keep it quick. Randolph Sr. or Duane?
Duane.
Carbs or protein?
Protein, all day long.
A good book with a beverage or a good movie with some popcorn?
Oh, you know what? I'm going to have to go with both there. I enjoy both. Just depends on the moment.
All right, we'll accept that answer. That'll work. Aggie or Pride?
Oh, Pride.
Coronavirus or COVID-19? Which have you been referring to it as?
Coronavirus. The thing I hate the most right now.
I think we all do. Clemson football or Clemson track and field?
Oh, Clemson football. All day long. Yeah.
Proudest track moment? The Olympics or seeing Kayla White win a national title?
Oh, man, that's a good one. It might be seeing Kayla win. Yeah, that was great. Yep, I think that's it. Seeing Kayla win. That's my favorite track moment.
And that's the one to end it out on.
All right.
Coach, I want to thank you for joining us. We certainly do appreciate it. And, however the season turns out in the fall, we don't have a whole lot of answers, but you know that you'll be ready. So we appreciate you.
Oh, not a problem, man. You guys stay safe, all right?
Yeah,
take care.
Thank you, Coach.